Yeah, episode 103 of the Blathering. We're live. We're just rip-roaring. We're going here tonight. I'm Napzok. This is the show in which I turn a baseball hat backwards. I don't really do that. Why did I do that? I didn't want to wear a beanie. I didn't want to fix up my hair. I didn't want to fix up my do. And also, I got in here tonight. I got in here tonight. I got a comment for those watching on video. I know some of you are on the podcast side. Joey Beans, good old Joey Beans says, "Come on, let's go already. My muffin is still warm." He could be talking about his penis. I don't know. Don't even know at this point. But I don't want to let Joey down. He's not a Joe. He's a Joey. He's not a Joseph. He's not a Joe. He's a Joey. Joey Beans is one of the first peoples that I interacted with on social media because he had enjoyed something silly I said on air. He was an old school Schmoes fan. Doesn't live too far away from me, if I recall, down Orange County way. And I've never met him in person. Joey, how is that possible? You were supposed to be one of the first people I was going to shake hands with because of silly, stupid things I was saying on the internet that you liked because you enjoy silly, stupid things. So your wife hit you upside the head with, how dumb you are. We never met in person. We had plans to. I remember a WonderCon or a con or some kind of con. We were going to do it. All right, let's not get too distracted. Ken Napzok here with you. I'm back from Little Rock, Arkansas. We're in the studio here. I titled the episode... I titled the episode "The Earthquake of Live Shows" because it's a stupid title. I need a good clickbaity title every week, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I turn on the camera and we go, and I have a couple things maybe I want to get to, but it's all right. You can't clickbait off something you don't know. If it's, one of you comes up with a genius call, I'll go back and fix it. Back from Little Rock, Arkansas, we're going to tell some stories, not out of school, no tales out of school. We got calls in a little bit. If you want to call into the show, this is like an AM radio talk show. In the modern age, become a YouTube channel member. You get a post each week that has the link. Dear God, I think I put it up. I did. And Patreon supporters at patreon.com/CatNapzok, where you can see, if you're a member there, my 40-minute set from Flappers the other night on Hot Burbank Nights. It's there. The Young Guns commentary is there. Young Guns 2 is in the hopper. It's in the hopper. We're getting ready to go there. So we got some calls coming in. And then, also, so we got, we start the show off, as always, with the three things on my mind. But I'm not going to do like 5 things on my mind, but some precursor stuff there. The earthquake is on my mind. We'll talk a little bit about that. But I do have some housekeeping. Big show tomorrow night, okay? Big show tomorrow night. If you're local, I'd love to see you come on out to this. If you're not local, don't worry. You can watch it live via the power of the internet or a little bit later. The link's going to be up for a week. So if you're in another time zone or you're out doing things on Friday night, you don't have to watch live. It will be available later. This is Horror Years Old, a fun comedy variety show about aging, starring Joseph Scrimshaw, with a little help from Laser the Boy, me, Audrey Kearns, and Hal Lublin. It is Joseph Scrimshaw's big birthday Saturday, but we're going to have a party, this show, Friday night. And I'd love for you to all watch it. Get a ticket. Watch it on the live stream. Get a ticket if you're local. Come on out. It'll be a good time. I've written some new jokes. Some new jokes. Joey Beans, you said we crossed past the celebration, but we didn't meet, man. No, Joey, we didn't meet. That doesn't count. I do kind of remember that now. Laser the men here. Laser Bolt. Laser the boy. Big Lou has a question. If you got a question and a super chat or any super thanks or anything you want to get in, now's the time to do it. We'll be here for about 90 minutes tonight. Big Lou says, where during your layover in Dallas, Fort Worth, did you tell someone you'd make them famous? No, you know what I did? Ellis and I had about an hour in Dallas, Fort Worth, the airport, not the cities, and we found ourselves a burger joint. And what did I get? I don't even remember. It wasn't a Whataburger or anything like that. It was in the airport. Maybe a Wendy's. I think it was a Wendy's. I just had a little tiny burger, just a tiny little handful, and a beverage, and then we got on. I did not have time. I was finally in the Denver airport on Sunday. Denver Airport, of course, known worldwide as the home of the Illuminati. Jared says the call-in link on Patreon isn't working. Well, that sucks. I'm going to have to drop it in the Discord. I can't get into Patreon now, but that's all right. All right. On the fly. Let me just do a link for tonight. I put it in the Patreon page. Maybe that will work, Jared, if you're in my Discord. I'll also put it in the live link there. Good to know. Thanks for keeping me honest, Jared. The link is from the last show? That's weird. I just must have copied the wrong link. I think that's what I did. I was in the Denver airport for all of about 40 minutes. I had an hour, but they started boarding. And that airport is so big. I was just in the B terminal, the B gate, or B terminal, and had no joke, I think it has 6. There's B1 through 6, and each one of those is 25 to 30 gates. Huge airport. And it's a cool airport, but I didn't get to see Bluey. I didn't get to see any of the things that I wrote about it. And a lot of you know, I worked on a big project for the Y-Files YouTube channel. I do some work for them, and I wrote a big episode on, or helped expand a big episode on the Denver airport being the alleged home of the Illuminati. Spoiler, it's not. It's absolutely not. All of that stuff easily debunked. And most of the conspiracy theories about the Denver airport, before you go too far down the rabbit hole, completely begun by an anti-Semite who is a Holocaust denier. And that has a lot to do with the conspiracy theory. So maybe it's fun to joke about, but don't take them too seriously because it puts you in a different category. Jeff May is here, says back. Oh, yeah. Jeff, I was watching you break cards the other day, too. I didn't leave a comment. I just had you on in the background. I was working. It was nice to be home in your warm embrace again. But I did get home. I almost missed boarding my plane because the Denver airport is so big. We had a good time in Little Rock, and that's one of the things we'll be talking about tonight on the 3 things as we get the show really going and calls lined up. Number 1 on my mind. It's fresh. I'm always in a battle with my health. I'm always in a battle. Do I want to get super in shape or do I enjoy life and want to eat? And you gotta change your mindset on that shit. You gotta dig in and a low calorie, no carb salad is got to bring you some sort of joy. But you got to balance it, right? And I talk about some of the stuff in my stand-up back and my whole life's a cheat day and all that kind of stuff. But I think I might be turning a corner. And I also want to say, speaking of housekeeping, I just launched a series of food reviews on my channel here. Check out the latest one. Do I run on Dunkin' Donuts? The answer's revealed inside. I did the first one on the smoky BLT QPC at McDonald's. And you might be saying, well, Ken, if you want to get into shape, maybe don't do reviews of fast food and junk food on your channel. That's fine. Eating one burger every 2 weeks for a video is not the problem. It's the daily choices. And some of them are economic-based choices. I don't mean to complain like an old man, but I am an old man. I just swung by Ralph's to pick up a couple items, and I felt like Dr. Mehmet Oz. What was his first name? Everyone knows him as Dr. Oz. I felt like I was trying to pick up crudité in a frozen burrito world, and the prices, corporate gouging is definitely a problem. And it's getting scary out there. So sometimes going to get a cheap bite of food is the only option. You just got to follow up with working out, all that stuff. And I do actually love working out, other than my body is kind of broken from Little Rock, from walking uphill too much. It's not been a good couple days as I recover, but blessed to have the opportunity. But anyways, I I went to one of my favorite diners not 2 hours ago. Not 2 hours ago, I went to one of my favorite diners. I needed to get some writing done. Here's said writing. Proof. Did some writing. I have this show tomorrow night, as I said up top, for Joseph Scrimshaw's birthday. And I went to one of my favorite diners. Jeff May's got the diner. And you know what? I sometimes get a salad there, but like those big salads that are just really meals on lettuce. And I said, no, I just, you know what I enjoy? I enjoy a club sandwich. I'm going to get a club sandwich. I'll get some curly fries, an iced tea, a little side salad. I'll sit here and do some writing. I don't feel good. And it's not just the restaurant. It's a quality restaurant. It's been a Burbank mainstay for a long time. I don't feel good. In Little Rock, I did not eat well in Little Rock. We were in an area without a car where we just didn't have a lot of options. And Mark Ellis and I actually lost weight because we had to walk around that humid city, sweating out all the water and all the fat and all the grease that we had in that place. I actually came out ahead. The entire time I was in Little Rock, I did not have French fries. The last French fries I had was in that video I did reviewing the McDonald's food. And I do love French fries. Nothing against French fries. But I didn't have them. And I noticed I felt a lot better. That a little chicken tender meal at Sonic or something wasn't getting me. Today at this diner, the French fries, the BLT, actually the club sandwich, excuse me, I feel so shitty. And I'm wondering if this is the final hurdle for me to clear, to start being able to make the choices because I have to. Because as you're coming up in years, you don't have to make the good choices all the time. When I was 28 years old, hell, when I was 21 years old, I could grab a box of Oreos, a real crappy beverage like a Coke, Diet Coke, Diet Mountain Dew, racist, I know, and I could grab 2 burgers and a large order of fries from Jack in the Box, and me and my friends could play James Bond, GoldenEye all night, and I'd feel spectacular. That starts to change. But I think at 48, I've hit the period of time where I don't have any other options other than to eat a little better. Doesn't mean I'm not going to go review some Del Taco. Doesn't mean I'm not going to treat myself every now and then to a street taco or a burrito or a pizza. It isn't about cutting it all out. Balance. But I feel horrible. It's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore. I'm actually actively angry at the food today. I did not enjoy myself. I didn't even get as much writing done because I felt terrible. And not just tummy terrible. Not just, I gotta go home. Just like I feel lethargic. I feel grumpy. And I know you're joking. Don't you always feel that way? Yes, but I feel absolutely like shite. When do I make the changes? I think we're getting there. And again, I noticed in Little Rock, I didn't go crazy. Went to Arby's because we had to go to Arby's. There was nothing around us and we had no car. We got a Lyft or an Uber? Sure. Or you could walk. We chose to walk. And Mark Ellis, I look up to Mark Ellis in so many ways. His stoic indifference to life and romance is one of the things I look up to him about. But he's so disciplined of an eater. So disciplined of an eater and a discipline of getting up the next day and going to the gym. It's admirable on a level I almost can't comprehend. But I just ate better. I felt good. Laserbolt says, I love Arby's. I don't love Arby's. I've never loved Arby's. But Arby's did okay for me. Arby's did okay. I did have a beef and cheddar, small, the single size. Didn't like the beef. Didn't taste good. Tasteless, quite frankly. But they had the horseradish sauce. Oh, my God. By the way, this drink is terrible. Not having alcohol tonight. All right, we got some calls lined up. I'm going to bring this first call in because I know he's going to yell at me. He's here to yell at me. And then we got Addie, we got Jared, we got Brennan. But returning to the show tonight is Jeff May, who's going to yell at me and say, you can get in a boxing ring and have chili.
I'm not going to yell at you.
Okay.
Why do you assume I'm going to yell at you? I don't do that.
You're a
I'm not that.
boxer. You're a boxer.
Yeah, but I'm also a trainer, and like that training and like that stuff. It's not like not everybody is the same way. Not everybody receives information the same way.
This is
So
true.
like you have to know how to deal with people, and especially people with me. So Ken, it's important for you to know, and
Yeah.
I don't hide this information. I think we may have discussed it, but I have an eating disorder called compulsive overeating.
Okay.
Which basically means that your brain and your stomach are separated. They do not listen to each other, and your body keeps eating and it can't stop. Right. Pretty standard stuff.
Yeah.
I had it my whole life. You've seen photos of me when I was younger. I was very big.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to Coral Cafe and you can leave not feeling bad. You just have to pick the right things. And like when I say this, I mean you can go to a lot of places and leave not feeling bad. You just have to pick the right things. And by the way, the right things aren't necessarily like you have to get a green salad with like a balsamic dressing. That's not what I'm saying.
Just what I had for a side today, Jeffrey. I had that for a side.
Diner salads aren't really worth the work. Like, look, if you're going to a diner, first and foremost, the rules at a diner are always grill, griddle, or fryer. Those are don't get anything unless they were prepared those ways, right?
Okay.
Bacon and eggs.
Bacon, eggs. Good.
Just get bacon and eggs. It's going to be a little bit of sodium. If you don't counteract that or you're not active, you might get a little gout. But bacon and eggs.
Okay.
Maybe skip the toast or whatever if you want. But like bacon and eggs is a really good, very satisfying thing to eat that has fat and protein that'll keep you moving. And it's not necessarily going to convert itself too hard. Like when I go to that exact same place, I get eggs, a hamburger patty, and a side of baked beans.
Okay.
And what that does is I'm not grogging myself down with stuff that's going to buy me out. I'm eating stuff that's going to keep me moving. And you try to just do that everywhere. But also you said this earlier, and this is a big thing for people, especially in our world, the nerdy world. We oftentimes have problems with our weight. It's okay to bring that up. Don't get angry with yourself when you break, because that's how people spiral out of control.
But so how am I to enjoy living without getting angry at myself?
So you want to know what I do to enjoy that living? And this is going to sound insane, but I set certain rules for certain foods where I'm like, for example, I love Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is like my favorite thing to drink.
I do. I once had. Have you ever heard the story, Jeff? I once had 19 of them at Chili's, and the waitress stopped. She said, "I'm not doing it anymore."
She's like, "All right, Forrest, calm down." I get it. She's probably like, "Dude, your bones are about to dissolve."
Yeah.
And I feel that. Like, if I did not regulate my intake of Dr. Pepper, it would be a problem. It would be. I would be a dead man. I certainly would be missing a foot.
Yeah.
So I set a rule where it's like, all right, I can have Dr. Pepper at the movies.
Yeah.
So that way, you set a certain thing. It's like, well, I can eat candy, but I can only eat candy at the movies or at a ballpark or something like that. And what that does is it allows you the idea that you can have these things and there's no guilt for it because that's within the parameters of your rules. But it also means that if you break the parameters, you're not going to spiral out of control, which is a huge problem when people are trying to diet.
I go. Fuck it is my approach to too much of this, right? Fuck it.
That's the breaking the rules when people break very rigid rules, and that's why like crash dieting is a disaster. And if you're listening and look, I have been a trainer. I've done boxing training for a lot of people and helped them manage weight. And the reality is, and I don't like to say manage weight. Actually, I like to say manage health.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to say it.
And especially like in this world where, we see all these Olympic bodies and you're like, that weight does not necessarily permit to health. They are often correlated, sure, but that's more of like a sign of a reaction or something like that. So like in maintaining health, a lot of it is just like allowing yourself like these soft rules that are easier to follow, and then that allows you to enjoy yourself. Yeah, it's just framing it. Because if you don't frame it, if you don't have like a rubric for I hate to say rubric for your enjoyment because it makes it sound like a very ascetic lifestyle, and it's not. But like making smart decisions is a lot easier if you set those parameters ahead of time. Crash dieting will not work. Crash exercising will not work. Your body will wear out. It's maintaining consistency and not hating yourself if you screw up or if you skip a couple days at the gym, which and also come box with me, Ken.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it. We talked about it. The hardest thing for me is this is why I have a full home gym. I don't like to leave the house to work out. That's not. Yeah, when I have it all there, not that you go every day, right? You know, it's like having a pool. You're not swimming every day. But I'm pretty consistent. We have a treadmill. We have all. You've seen it. But you know, I know. That's all I'll say. That's all I could. It's like you and when Joe Starr used to invite me to karate.
I almost kicked through his leg one time when I did that.
I'm always like, I know, and it's the fellowship. You're not just inviting me to box. You're inviting me for fellowship.
Dude, it's so funny because the gym that I now go to is on Magnolia. It's not terribly far away from us. It's in North Hollywood. But like the people that are there, like out of nowhere, I'll just be like, wait, that's a Jonas brother, right? Like I have that kind of like, it's a very Hollywood experience, right?
Yeah.
But the vibe and the energy there is so positive and so supportive. That it's the opposite of what everybody assumes going to a gym is going to be like. Like everybody at a gym remembers their first day. So, and this isn't necessarily for Ken so much as it is for everybody, but like the gym's more supportive than it is scary.
That's yeah, that's good. No, I've never had a bad experience with the gym. I don't. Working out is such a solitary thing to me. It's a headphones. It's a zone I get in. You know, that's how I watch most of my Netflix docs. So that's the barrier there.
That is running for me too. I do run solitary, but it's when it comes to food, like try to avoid tan food as much as you can. I know that sounds insane.
Food. I love tan food.
If food comes to you like a tan. Like, and when you look at it, it's like fried food, like a lot of breads and things like that. Like, I mean, that tan gets converted to sugar in your body, and then that gets converted to fat. Which again, like, hey, you can add fat to your body. Fat isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's just
sugars.
You can spiral. It's just I want my Ken healthy.
I'm getting better. I think I'm so angry at the food today, Jeff. That's the difference. I'm not angry at myself too much, because I think your point is right. In all seriousness, allowing a framework to exist, not a set of stringent rules that will make or break you and your soul. I was actively angry at the food today. Like why is this in my life? That was a different feeling I've had than I made a mistake. It was like I don't like you anymore. I don't like you anymore.
I get that way a lot. Like I do. I'm there sometimes. It happens, and like I'm that like I try to be very strict and stringent because I mean obviously when I started fighting and I had lost all that weight and I was like I can't go back. I can't. And then I do find myself sliding backwards. And it really is a thing where it's like, well, look, my job and my responsibility is to live for as long as I can in a way that does not cause me pain.
Yeah.
So. Obviously, there's some mild irony that boxing is what I chose to do that.
You're not in the trenches of it anymore. You're not.
I mean, I'm over 40, and they think I should. Like they want me to go into their competition format.
Yeah, well,
because they're like, "Hey, you're good," and I'm like, "I'm old. I'm good because I've been doing this for a long time. I don't need this."
There you go.
But I just want you when you go to diners. Diners are awesome. Just try to avoid the tan. Try to avoid the tan stuff.
Tan. Okay. I'll avoid tan.
I know it's overly simplistic, but try to avoid the tan stuff. And
see colors.
And treat yourself every once in a while, but try to avoid treating yourself too late at night.
Yeah, that's getting better on that too. Again, when you get older, some of the stuff you just have to change. Like you have to change. My mother's when I got my mother's stomach, it's just like it's the sugars, the ice creams, all that kind of stuff, and I've soured on it,
Yeah.
literally. So it's been good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff, for calling in and not yelling. I was
course.
teasing you. I was teasing you.
But come box with me, you idiot.
Okay. That's the way
No,
to
I'm
get
kidding.
me. That'll do.
I love you, and I enjoy the rest of the show, everybody, and I'll be along with you. All right,
Thank
bye.
you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Jeffrey. Jeff May, everybody. Follow Jeff May here on YouTube. He breaks cards and do other things. And seriously, I'm teasing him. He's an intimidating young man, Jeff May. He's tall, strapping boxer, but he knows how to coach, as you heard right there. A couple more things on my mind. Then I'll get calls. We got Brennan. We got Addie. We got Jared, the Time Pilot here. If you want to call in, you know how to do it. Become a channel member or become a Patreon member or go to the Discord if you're a Patreon member because that's where the active link is right now. I posted it in 2 spots. Still dealing with 3 things on mine. We talked about the food. Second thing on my mind is, I don't know what to say about Little Rock. It's just on my mind. I spent 5 days there. And usually I come back from cities. I'm one of those ones that kind of falls in love with every city he goes to. Like, I could move to Paris. I could move to London. I'd love to move to Seattle or outside Seattle. New York, maybe not. Maybe it's not as much as I used to, but I definitely wouldn't mind. Washington, D.C. Love being in downtown D.C. I could see myself living there. I'm that guy. I just love getting out. That's why I love traveling. And when we do shows, Mark Ellis and I, we don't do a whirlwind tour or tourist thing. We're not hitting all the big sites. We're just in the city for a couple of days, and that's where you get a different feel of it. I did not have that feeling in Little Rock, but I had some wonderful moments, times, and great people there. Also had some interesting people. We'll just say that. It didn't vibe with me. It was really weird. The town has no sidewalks. That's almost a joke. It's actually kind of true. Not a lot of sidewalks. We also lack it's working. So I tripped and fell. Like, we're talking to an embarrassing level. I tripped and fell. 10 cars watching me, flipping over on myself. My knee still effed up. I still got a big scab on my knee. Wasn't too bad. It could have been worse. It was our fault for we didn't have a rental car. The comedy club's going to pay for an Uber over, so we didn't get a rental car. And I don't mind walking anywhere. And I'm not a dummy. I understand what I've been around, humidity before. And we also get it out here, and we get it in San Diego if you're down there. Been in Tennessee. I've experienced humidity. This was just it's been a while since I've experienced it to this degree. I've been in Texas before. I've been back east before, This was just sun scorching, down on your soul humidity. I made the joke in the video of the Dunkin' Donuts of sweat, where I've never had sweat before, but it was a weird vibe on the city. And I don't know, I don't quite know. Yeah, 898 from car-centric cities. Oof. They did not want you to walk. They were actively against the idea of pedestrians in that city. Because even some of the sidewalks they had, there was a main drag, and we had to walk down to a Walgreens to get just basic supplies for the house. 2-foot wide sidewalk. And cars whizzing past us. Not their fault, but they're zooming by. Not a lot of people walking. I get if it's because of the weather, but I don't know how you function that. So I don't have a lot of nice things to say about Little Rock. I don't have bad things to say. It just was the first time I've been in a city where I thought, I think I'm ready to go home. The comedy club was fun. Looney Bin in Little Rock. Great staff there. They were very hospitable. We had a great host, Zeb Ballantyne. Follow Zeb Comedy on Instagram if you want. He was great. He picked us up every night for the show. He was wonderful. Good crowds, weird mix of people. Definitely didn't lean in. I have my transgender rights bit that I occasionally break out. Didn't break it out in Arkansas. Not that they don't need to hear that kind of stuff out there. But it would have been, there were some folks in the crowd that you're just like, you knew what you weren't going to say. Without one of those protective bank shields in front of you. Like, it had a weird vibe. But not everyone was like that. I want to be clear to say, not everyone was like that. And that was also one of my lessons I did take from it. I love spending time in these states that are not like my state. in so many ways around people that are not like me. I think it's valuable. I really do think we all should do that, especially here in America. There are those things that go around on the internet every once in a while of, you'll have someone from like Europe making fun of Americans for, Americans are so, they don't even travel. They don't even have their passport. I didn't have my passport like 2 years ago. All right. A lot of that, again, economic. But then you have the people who fight back, and they are people from Europe who've come over here, who are either visiting or live or work. And they fight back against that notion, saying, calm the fuck down on teasing Americans for not traveling more or having their passports. They kind of don't need to leave. Now, I think everyone should go experience the world if they can. I absolutely loved late in life, last year, left the country for the first time. Can't wait to do it again. Loved it. Valuable experience. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. It's the internet. You're going to get me wrong. Every state is a different country. What are we up to now? 50 states? Is that where we're up to now? What's on that flag? We're going to get to 51? Where are we at 52? When do we add Puerto Rico? Every state is a different country. It is downright a miracle we are formed into any kind of union. And we're trying to boil that down to 2 political candidates. We're trying to boil that down to not even left and right, but just our own perspectives guiding us when you run up against an entire state that feels like a different world. Oh, we had your Chevrons, your Shells, your Arby's, your Sonics, your Krogers. Here we call them Ralphs. Yeah, that's all there. That's all there. But it's a different world. It is a different world. Each state is a different country. And I got to roll around in Arkansas for a little bit. And I guess I just got to extend my hand to them, shake their hands. That's on my mind. I don't even know if that makes sense. This is what I do on the Blathering. We blather. But I've been thinking, I thought, poor Mark Ellis had to deal with me. Mark Ellis grew up Virginia, North Carolina, those kind of places. I've been out there. Got to see the states a lot in the last few years doing comedy and conventions with Clutter and Screen Junkies. Blessed to do it. Love flying. Airports are my favorite. I love airports. Love spending time in them. I mean that sincerely. But, yeah, that was weird. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Yeah, Laserbolt says, I have relatives from Germany visit the States, and they expected to see everything in 2 weeks. They were shocked. Impossible. I'm going to San Francisco next week. Next week. Here, I'll put up the card. San Francisco, one night only. Lost Church in San Francisco. Nick Scarpino hosting and putting together this big show with Mark Ellis, me, and Josh McCouga. A lot of love to Josh McCouga. We'll talk about that here in a moment. I was born in California, Orange County, California, the city of Orange. Raised in Pismo Beach, California, about 2.5 hours, 3 hours north of where I am right now. San Francisco is about 4 hours north of where I was raised. I have been to San Francisco 3 times in my life. It's my own state. That is my own state. One of the biggest, most famous cities in the state. I've been there 3 times in my life. That's what I'm talking about. And I think one of them, I'm not even counting. I think one time I drove through it. I went to Berkeley for a wedding in 2015. I could see San Francisco. So maybe 3.5 times. We don't. It's big here, man. Brian Tiller's here. Every country is a different country. It's insane when you stop and think about it. It's a miracle we're together as a country. Addie, who we're going to bring on the phone line here in a second, says, I've lived in 8 states in my life. Ken speaks the truth. I don't speak the truth often, but what I do. I got one more thing on my mind, and that is I do want to talk about my buddy Josh McCouga. Josh posted it, so it is out there. Josh lost his brother, the wonderful Ben, this week. Passed away. Cancer. God damn it, man. It's a tragedy. Father of 4. Ben was a light. Ben was great. Ben was one of the only things keeping Josh McCouga in line. We have to do it now. I've been talking with Josh all week. Going to see him in a couple weeks. If you saw a social media post, leave a heart, leave a like. Just say something simple. He doesn't need all the deep words. He doesn't need poems. He just needs to know that there's love out in the world. Josh McCouga and I have known each other for a very long time now, 10 years. An on again relationship, meaning I've loved him and loved him even more. But over the last couple of years, after Josh moved out of the area, Amanda gave birth to their wonderful daughter, Rosie. You just don't see people as much. And so it's been, occasionally Josh will come through town. We've hung out. We'll chat every now and then. FaceTime, you can see his face. But, life moves you all in different directions. But I can't wait to see Josh next week and give him just the biggest hug. So I'm sending all my love out to House McCouga this week. Definitely on my mind. And that lesson you have to, we all have to face and learn sometimes, of check in on the ones around you. Make sure you call your parents if you still have the opportunity to, or are still close to them, or still want to. That's always a bigger conversation about families. I get it. Friends, don't be afraid to say I love you, man. Don't be afraid to say I love you, sister. I love you, brother. Don't be afraid to give a hug. Even if it's one of those little half hugs with a pat. Tell someone close to you that you absolutely love them this week. They could use it. They can need it. On my mind. On my mind. All right, we're gonna get some calls, but I don't want Addie, Jared, or Brendan to have to follow anything too sad. I'll remind you. Oh, here's what I was gonna do. Some more business. There we go. We got some business. I know some of you don't really understand what I'm doing with my ASMR channel. You don't need to. If you don't like ASMR, if you don't understand ASMR, that's okay. I love it. I've used it for well over 10 years to relax, to de-stress. It actually really helps me, and it's fun. About a year or so ago, I started a channel called Sports Card ASMR. I actually started the videos here on this channel, but moved them off because it's a good thing to do. I'm very close to being monetized. Very close. I'm 45 subscribers away. I have the watch hours. So if you are watching live, you might already know about this channel. If you're watching later, especially if you're watching later, maybe you don't know I do this channel. Someone left a comment on this channel recently. It was like, oh my God, it's Ken from Collider and Screen Junkies. I was wondering what happened to you. I stumbled on this channel because I like sports cards and ASMR, and I found this is a great channel. It's you. Oh my God, it's you. They didn't know where I'd been for the last 5-6 years, which happens every now and then. One person actually left a comment and said, man, I don't know, you sound like this guy, Cat Napzok. It is me. So even if you do not like ASMR, even if you think it's weird, even if you think it's creepy, even if you just absolutely want to mock it, I don't care. Do me a favor, look up Sports Card ASMR on YouTube and subscribe. I am 45 subscribers away from being monetized, which would be very big for me. All right. Michael McCarcel says, I don't really understand sports or ASMR, but I still love watching. And and you left a comment. I haven't even got to it yet, Michael, because it's been a busy week. All right, calls coming in, and they've been waiting patiently. I'm bringing in Addie right now. Addie, how are you? Thanks for being a channel member, and thanks for calling in tonight. What's on your mind?
Well, recently now it's just about how much I miss Dr. Pepper.
Sorry, did we mention I miss Dr. Pepper too? And Mr. Pibb.
Oh, no, not Mr. Pibb. Mr. Pibb is a graduate school dropout who couldn't take the heat. It's Dr. Pepper all the way.
Hey, all right. I should pay for that joke. That's amazing. What is it about Dr. Pepper that you love?
Well, I miss it. I don't drink soda anymore. I had to give it up for health reasons.
Yeah, okay.
It was wrecking me. But I went to graduate school in Waco, Texas, which is the controversial birthplace of Dr. Pepper.
That's right.
Has the Dr. Pepper Museum. Baylor University has Dr. Pepper Hour once a month where they serve Dr. Pepper floats in different buildings that you can go get and enjoy.
Okay. I don't mind any of this.
And I miss it. Oh, there was a coffee shop near campus where they would make what was called a 254, which is the area code for Waco.
Okay.
And it was Dr. Pepper, half and half, and raspberry syrup.
Ooh.
And it was delicious. And I miss Dr. Pepper. I miss Dr. Pepper. And that's all I've been able to think about for like the last 20 minutes. This is why I'm convinced I am turning a corner on my own battle to stay in shape. And I do agree with Jeff May that it's not just about weight or numbers. It's about how you feel and what you want to accomplish. I love Dr. Pepper, too. I do like Mr. Pibb, which is at Del Taco, but I do like Dr. Pepper. I mentioned the Chili's story. 100% true story, Addie. 19 Dr. Peppers at Chili's. And I got the last one. The waitress put her down. She goes, I'm not doing this again. And she kind of knew me, but I thought at first I was like, oh, she doesn't want to walk back to, get the drink. And I think she wanted to save my life. But I was in Little Rock and dying of thirst. But I saw they had a Dr. Pepper. Nothing thirst like Dr. Pepper.
That first taste of the pepper when it hits your lips. Oh, and that doctor comes to call, and when he makes a house call. And then I was like, no, because halfway through, I'm going to feel disgusting. I'm going to feel more dried out. And I turned away from it. But have you ever tried this? My buddy Matt Key, his father, who is from Texas, had a drink that I named Frothy Pepper Nog. And every year at Christmas, they take Dr. Pepper and eggnog and mix it together. And the first time Matt said, would you like to try this? It's a drink my dad introduced us as a kid. Maybe he got it from somewhere else, but I don't know. And I just said, oh, God, Frothy Pepper Nog, let's do it. And I haven't had it in a while, but it's one of the greatest things, Addie, in the world. It's one of the greatest things.
I've admittedly never had eggnog. I imagine it's on point with the 254, though, with like the half and half going
Sounds
in there.
Close.
Yeah. And it sounds disgusting. Because the dairy starts, curdling a little bit with the carbonation.
Yep.
But it's amazing. You just got to drink it fast.
Yep.
Like a milk martini.
Exactly, like a milk teeny. And anytime I describe, like, especially when I mentioned it to Grace, like Dr. Pepper and eggnog, she about threw up in her mouth and almost left me, quite frankly. It's the greatest thing. It is the greatest thing in the world. And Addie, I know that wasn't necessarily your question, but you mentioned Dr. Pepper. But what's on your mind?
That's okay. I don't know. I agree with your take. I've been to Little Rock. I spent a summer in Little Rock.
Summer.
It is what's beautiful about this country is that like each state is its own country, and it helps you understand how we have the differences we have, I guess. Like,
yes.
The things that matter to people. So I actually moved 2 years ago from the West Coast to the East Coast. I moved from Oregon to New England. I drove across the country almost as far as you could go.
That's about it, yeah.
And the perspective that you gain in traveling around this country, in understanding what matters to people in the different places, and therefore how we get into the place where we are in this country, it makes a whole lot more sense.
Really
and
does.
I wish more people would go on adventures like this, because empathy is what is going to solve the problems.
Yep. To dive into that a little bit, but like, look, obviously there's some big issues in the world that I ain't backing off of, and you probably have that feeling too, Addie, right? Like,
I'm a scientist. There's a number of big issues I refuse to back off of.
Exactly. The new episode of Climate Town came out this weekend. I was watching Raleigh's latest video there, scaring me about California water. There's big issues I'm not going to back off of. In fact, I'll fight over them. But like, when you remove that and you just have to act like a functional human being in a room with people who have a different, not only perspective, but different path to that perspective than you could even possibly comprehend, it does force you. And I've been really angry last few years. I've been very, very outspoken in ways I haven't been in the past. And I don't back off on a lot of those things. And I do sometimes want to shove a circle into a square peg and make some people come to terms with some things. But you can't. And I think I'm in the last couple months in a period of time where I realized I can't. And then, like I said, there was some folks that if I had a conversation with them in Little Rock, probably had some big disagreements. But because we didn't, we just found a common language, laughter. Yeah, it leads to a lot more better things than screaming and finger pointing.
And it reminds us that we have a lot more in common than we often give ourselves credit for.
Way more in common.
Because honestly, the struggles look different, but they are the same.
Yes.
Everybody's trying to get by. Everyone's trying to make ends meet. Everyone's trying to do the best for their family and themselves. And the path that they see for getting there looks different depending on who you are and where you came from and the means you have to get yourself other places. Yeah,
it's absolutely true. And you know, I landed in Little Rock with probably some preconceived notions, but and I'll tell you, a lot of people right there on those notions, checklist of those notions. But a lot of other folks not. The first night we did a show, we had a table of about 10 youngsters. I'm sounding like a cowboy. 10 youngsters, mostly young women. They were like 20, 21 range. I think they were celebrating a birthday. Covered in tattoos, goth girls. When I did a joke about Grace being pansexual, they all applauded because they were as well. And I was thinking, wow, that was not what I had on my Little Rock bingo card. And just goes to show, but their struggles are the same, like you said, in other ways. Economic, jobs, family, survival. So, yeah, fascinating. What other states have you lived in, if I may be so bold?
Oh, yeah, no. I lived, and there the Southern accent comes. I was in Ohio, I was in Tennessee, I was in Florida, I was in Michigan, which is the wrong direction to do that move. Florida to Michigan is just depressing. And then I was in Virginia. I went to grad school in Texas. I moved to Oregon, and now I live in Rhode Island.
Look at this. I mean, you actually have basically touched upon every state that is a beacon and a mainstay of our listeners here. We got Michigan, Laserbolt from Michigan. Vermont Mike represents both Ohio and Vermont. We got a lot of Texas, Florida. We got Big Lou's clubhouses down in Florida. I like this. We don't have a ton of Oregons. Trey, when he's around, represents Portland. The Oregon connection.
See, I tell people I lived in the not fun part of Oregon. I lived in practically California, Oregon.
Oh, yeah, right there in the border. Okay. Mm-hmm. There we go. Jared's a proud masshole. Oh, you massholes. Oh,
you guys are the worst drivers.
Oh, my God.
Are the worst.
Dear God, I thought Mark Ellis and I were going to die at least 6 times while driving in Boston. Mark was doing all the driving. God bless him. I've never seen... Bad driving doesn't even cover what's going on in Boston. What the hell driving?
It really doesn't.
Y'all need to take some DMV driving courses out there, Jared. We'll talk about that in a second. Addie, thank you for calling in. Thanks for being here. Addie used to be one of the early callers on Daily Thrones, now Casterly Talk. So glad to have you here, hanging out with us.
Happy to be here. Happy to catch it live.
Oh, thank you. All right, Addie, we'll bring her back. Hopefully she'll call in. We got Jared, we got Brennan. I'm going to get to Brennan here because he's been waiting since the start of the show. But Jared, I'm ready for you to slide in here and bring some heat. Big Lou says drivers in Florida are the worst because it's a melting pot of all the other regional driving styles. It sucks. Oh man, I don't know about that. That's actually, you know what? That's insight, Big Lou. Everyone retires to Florida and they bring their own problems. And Troy says, hey, representing Boston, we're the best drivers. Got to swerve on all the damn tourists doing less than the speed limit. All right, maybe, but you know, Vermont Mike says can't believe that Boston can legally use the breakdown lane as an express lane. Yeah, that's the problem. And then you moved everything underground, Troy. You used to have roads above, and you went underground, which is I don't have a problem with. Actually, that's better. But it just how you get up and you're cutting, you're weaving. It's a thing. It's a thing. All right. Bringing Brennan into the show here. Mr. Marr, how are you doing tonight?
Good. I was born in Utah, but I am a California boy through and through.
Born in Utah, but California. Yeah, Utah.
Yeah, I've been in California since I was 1.5. So.
Oh yeah. So you're a Cali kid. I think Utah. No, well technically I've been to Utah, Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
But only it doesn't it kind of counts if you're just in the airport. But I had some great enchiladas there, so I can count that. I can.
Yes, and if I forget to say it before the end, in keeping with what you said about Josh McCouga, I love you, Ken, and there's no shame in saying that.
Absolutely, Brennan. I appreciate it. I love you too, Brennan. Thank you so much.
So you're going to be in my neck of the woods next week. Because I'm in San Jose, so.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I always yes, San Jose. San Francisco.
Yeah, it's funny because you have people in San Jose, some people in San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
When they say we're going to go to the city, they mean San Francisco.
But yeah, okay, but that's interesting.
Somebody like me is like that doesn't count. The city is San Jose.
San Jose, it's still a pretty big city, right? I've been through it a few times.
It's bigger than San Francisco, actually.
Yeah. But San Francisco's like, the brother that gets all the press.
It's the hip happening place, yeah, but.
Yeah, maybe not as much anymore, but yeah.
We have friends who moved here. And I swear, every other weekend they're up in San Francisco doing stuff. Because that's the place to go, and I admit there is a lot to do there.
Yeah.
More than maybe in San Jose, but even though I'm in San Jose, I've only been in San Francisco not that many times, really.
See? A lot of people don't get up there. If you're like Nick Scarpino, you live up there, but that's about it. If you don't live up there.
That's where I go to the opera, the San Francisco Opera.
Well, that's a good place to go to the opera.
Which
that's
is one of the best operas in the country, I think.
It is. That's where, Richard Gere took Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. Everyone knows that.
Foul play.
Brennan, what is your question tonight, buddy? Hit me with your best shot.
I'm going to be down in your neck of the woods in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a couple of restaurants on my list of these are the things I'm going to try to get.
Okay.
I'm there, and I'm interested to get your thoughts.
Love it. Hit me with your choices.
You already know Smokehouse, because I already told you about that.
And you can't go wrong. You're not going to go wrong at Smokehouse.
Yeah, because we're going to be at Universal Studios that day, and then we'll just go over to Smokehouse.
Perfect.
And thankfully, because of reservations, that makes things easier.
Yeah. And then, look, I'll say this. There's the City Walk, Universal City Walk's got some fine, big restaurants. It's got a Bubba Gump, which I love, but it can be busy, and there's something about getting out of there after you've done the park and going having a relaxing time at Smokehouse. You made a good choice.
The other one is Mel's Diner.
Okay.
The one halfway between Woodland Hills and Universal City. That's the one I'm probably going to go to.
It's on Ventura Boulevard. Yeah.
Ventura, yeah.
Yeah. Look, that's easy. That's quite frankly easier to get to if you're staying in that area. The one on Sunset, there's one off Hollywood Highland, but there's one on Sunset near the Comedy Store. That's probably the one, I'll say honestly, but you don't need to go to the one to enjoy the choices there. So I think you're gonna have a good time there. Are you going for like a lunch or a breakfast?
Meals would be like lunch, late lunch.
Okay.
Early dinner, kind of 5:36.
I'll tell you what, underrated option at Mel's that I remember I used to get back in the day before the Comedy Store shows, a taco salad. A taco salad.
Yeah, I love the taco salad. I do.
I recommend it. I recommend it.
Well, okay, I will remember that. And the other one is Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Well, you know what's funny? Never been to Roscoe's.
Yeah.
Never been to Roscoe's. I've been by it. I've been by all three locations. At least there used to be just three, right? Yeah, maybe there's more.
Well, there's one in Long Beach. Well, it's weird because we're deciding, but I think that based on where we're going to be, we're going to try to go to the Roscoe's, or at least pick it up, the one in Hollywood.
Yeah, near Cahuenga. Yeah,
and then
that's the one.
Drive up to get the Tark and have a picnic.
I don't think that's a bad idea at all, man.
I don't fancy the idea of eating in the middle of Hollywood with too many people.
Yeah, well, it's a smaller restaurant. If I recall, again, I've never been inside, but look, hey, there's some good spots in Hollywood if you want to, but I think also what you planning to experience there, a picnic in the park. Oh, that's a good idea. You're doing it right. You're doing it right, Brennan.
And then the other one, not so much for food, is to go to the Skull and Villainy Cantina.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have fun.
Around the corner from the Chinese theater.
Yep. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun. Good tater tots.
And sad because they used to host the OneRing.net weekly Lord of the Rings stream.
Yes.
From the Skull and Villainy Cantina. They don't anymore because of the pandemic. So
yeah.
That I was hoping that someday I would get there to meet the guys who host
One Ring.
However, the guy who owns Skull and Villainy, J.C. Reisenberg, is the guy I beat to become the SCL champion.
He was in it? In
the Star Wars division. Yeah, I'm the guy who beat him.
That's fascinating. I have met him in passing a few times. I didn't know he was competing in the FCL. That's great. Yep. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm the one who beat him. And I know not to brag, but in a knockout.
You can politely remind him. How about if you say?
Well, no, I wouldn't say a word to him unless he brings it up. But anyhow,
there you go. Well,
not to get any alcoholic beverages, just to get a nice non-alcoholic drink.
There you go. Get an iced tea. You got.
I don't like Dr. Pepper, just for the long run.
Well, that's probably a good decision. You've sounds like Brendan. You guys got a great trip.
I'm a caffeine-free Diet Coke with lemon in it kind of guy.
Caffeine-free Diet Coke with lemon. I like a lemon in the Diet Coke.
Now
I got lemon in my water right now.
And anybody in the chat is confused.
Yeah.
It's not that we quote-unquote can't drink caffeine in my church. It's that decision is up to each person. When I go out to eat, I'll get something with caffeine in it. But at home, I usually don't like to drink things with caffeine. I don't want to need caffeine to wake up.
Yeah.
And there is a common misconception that we're quote-unquote not allowed to drink caffeine in my church, which depends on who you ask, but
right.
To me, it's like I'd rather not be addicted to it, but I don't mind getting a good caffeinated beverage when I go out.
No. At Smokehouse, go for it. But a caffeine-free Diet Coke with a lemon is a solid drink. I actually quite enjoy that. So I think.
Anyhow, I don't know why I had to go on that slight tangent, but anyway.
It's
caffeine,
good,
people have heard some interesting things about.
Yeah, absolutely.
My church, and that's a whole nother story. But
that's a whole nother episode.
But yeah, that's kind of the menu for when we're down.
Love it, man. You're gonna have a good time.
And Burbank and all that stuff.
You're gonna have a good time. Universal Studios is a good time as well. They've made a lot of improvements over there as well.
20 years, so
it's a different ball game. Just a different ball game.
But anyhow, that's
cool.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Brennan.
Do you think it's a good menu?
I think you've picked some really good spots. Like I said, I've never even been to Roscoe's. I've just
I'm just so sad I cannot eat garlic bread because of the dairy, even though you said that the garlic bread at Smokehouse is like.
The garlic bread at Smokehouse is. Yeah. Grace can no longer. She's full vegan, so that's off her menu. But
my stomach just cannot handle.
Cannot do it. Yeah. But hey, you're gonna be. There's so many other things there. You're gonna have a good time.
And I was looking at the menu, drooling.
It's the atmosphere. It's the atmosphere that you're going for. Well, Brett, you're gonna have a good.
Just think of me while you're in San Francisco, I guess.
I will. We're gonna have a good time, Brennan.
Sending you good vibes.
Thank you, and give us an update. A month from now when your trip happens, we're gonna get the food rundown from you.
Yeah, and Nick, just letting the Cougar know, I was a huge fan of the Good People, and
I'll let him know.
I still have my cup right there where I can see it.
Beautiful.
Just letting the Cougar know, I'm sorry to hear it. And
yeah,
a lot of thoughts going his way.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Marr. Brennan, Mystical Marr, everyone. Check it in. sharing a vacation food menu there. Food always comes up here as it should. This is a Blathering Live. We reached the top of the hour here. If you got a call, got a question, put it here in chat. Got a super chat, drop it in there. You got a super thanks, drop it in there. Thanks to those who have subscribed to my ASMR channel, I'm watching. There you go. Look at that. Numbers have gone up. Thank you. Now I'm only 40 away from getting monetized on Sports Card ASMR. Dreams come true. Dreams come true. Steve says, food talk in chat. Jared the tie pilot. I don't want to drop the tie.
Very
Jared,
important.
how are you doing?
Not too bad, Ken. A random Thursday off for me, so I was able to actually catch the full show quietly, nicely. We actually lost power here in Mass about 5 minutes before your show started. It kicked back on, so
What caused the power loss? Just a complete lack of rules following on the road?
First off, y'all and the rest of the country just need to get the hell out of the way. You know, that's basically.
Look, you got a beautiful city. I was in the passenger seat. I was looking at everything. It's just I don't think you give us the time to look.
No, move. My city, not yours, mine. I mean,
all right.
For one thing, I do love. There was an old meme that goes around Massachusetts a lot, where the aerial view of New York City, the aerial view of Boston, New York with all its grids, and it just goes New York because we want you to know where you are. Then it just shows the mess that is Boston, because fuck you.
It's so true. Our Uber driver picked us up, and we were almost late to the first show because he got lost. And he was like, and Mark and I are like, we don't live here, man. We don't know. And you have GPS going. He's like, oh, man. And then, I mean, he took 3 or 4 wrong turns in a row.
And you'd hear easily done.
And you'd hear him go, oh, crap. Oh, sorry, man. We almost late to the show.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of our underground tunnel, the best joke forever was the Big Dig, the world's most expensive car wash. Because the first time they opened it, all it did was flood. It was bloody hilarious.
Yeah. Well, at least they tried.
They did.
I'm forcing you in a corner to defend Boston traffic, but Jared, what's on your mind tonight here as you call in the Blathering?
Oh, so many, just all your conversations, so many thoughts and feelings about everything. First off, orange soda is the best soda.
Orange soda, just a straight up orange soda. Any particular brand? Just an orange drink?
Just the more generic, the better. I feel like because you get into like the Fantas and all the name brand stuff. They try to add the little twists to it. It's like no, I want store brand Keenan and Kel orange soda.
Love this. I don't mind. I actually, quite frankly, like an orange soda. Where do you put Cactus Cooler on the list? I used to, back in the security days, there was a soda machine down in the break room that took quarters. Drinks were a quarter. I would clean them out of Cactus Coolers. I called Cactus Cooler a breakfast soda. What's your thoughts on Cactus?
Top 3. Definitely a top 3. Yeah, easily. I can't remember the exact brand, but there was a very... 38. So there was a brand in the 90s for like a Stop and Shop or something up here that was just store brand style. That was just came in the 3-liter bottles, not even a 2-liter bottle.
Oh yeah, yeah. Addie asks an important question: who loves orange soda? You know, yeah, absolutely. Cal. Yeah, there's the thing I love about orange soda is whereas. As Addie and I were talking about the Dr. Pepper, and that first taste of Dr. Pepper hits your lips. If you're a fan, I think like any soda, quite frankly, but Dr. Pepper just hits. It's crisp, it's cool. You're like, yeah, I'm home. Orange soda. Every time I take that Cactus Cooler, again, we could debate if that's a regular orange soda or not, but that orange soda feeling, that Fanta, that regular orange drink, something you get at a mall, at a hot dog on a stick, it's so good. And then by halfway through. My throat burns. It's unique. It's unique to it itself. It's unlike any other soda.
You know what it is? We drink it too fast because it's too delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is.
And another random thought to go back even early in our night show. the idea that we don't get around as Americans and
Mm-hmm.
just fighting back that.
Yeah.
I have my partners, I live in Mass, my partners live in North Carolina,
Mm.
and I have a good friend who lives in England, and she'll, like most Europeans, will give me shit about coming to visit, and I give her credit. She did come to America to visit once, so
Okay. Fair.
I do owe her a counter visit. But
Mm.
she's like, I'm telling her, I'm like, oh, I got this big drive to come up. She's like, how big could it be? And I did the math. I'm like, if I started at the top of Scotland and went all the way down to England, I still have another 20 miles to go before I reach that.
See?
And that's only North Carolina to Massachusetts. That isn't a small chunk of our bloody country.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're in that Texas panhandle on the 40 freeway and you're, hour 6 of nothing but a plane and a highway, you get the full scope of how big we are. Like, and we all can't help where we're from, but it's like, you can cross 5 different countries in a 35-minute drive,
easily.
Here I can't even get across LA. And it's not just because of the traffic, because it's how big it is. But and I'm fine. Like, it's fun to tease. And again, I wish I had traveled abroad earlier on. Absolutely wish I could have. A lot of reasons we didn't, a lot of them economic, but I love teasing, but it's the snooty. I had one at Comic-Con. She was from London, and this was before I was heading out. I was excited. I was like, I just got my passport. I'm gonna head. I was talking to a friend. I was like, I'm heading to Star Wars Celebration London, and she was right there, and she was like, wait, you just got your passport? And obviously by my beard, you can tell I'm a little older. I said, yeah, and she literally rolled her eyes, and she's, you Americans. I wanted to just throw her over the fence. I just want to you're done. You're out of the party. Go get out of here. Like, your smugness does not belong here. Because it's like, how many states have you been? I know people who've never left California.
That's a big state.
It's a big state.
Oh God. And it's hilarious when you travel around, especially I was fortunate enough to do many trips out west as a kid for snowboarding and whatnot. And the first time, my Southeast Massachusetts people know what I talk about when I say the words coffee milk. It is. So you have your chocolate syrup like Hershey's. Here in Southeastern Mass, we have the same thing, but it is a coffee syrup. It is. So first time I left New England, far, far away, and went out for breakfast, ordered a coffee milk. Waitress stared at me a little, then brought this 10-year-old-ish child a pot of black coffee and a big thing of milk. It's like,
yeah.
Oh,
I love that.
And then go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, no. Finish your thought, because I'm gonna change the subject real quick here. But what do you got? What do you got, Jared?
Oh no, but same day went to a Bubba Gump shrimp for dinner. Again, Mass boy. I saw on the menu the Lieutenant Dan bucket, lobster tails and other crustaceans, but I saw the word lobster tails. This bucket comes to a Mass boy with crawfish tails.
Oh,
it's like I'm just like, waiter, where's the rest of my crawfish at least?
Can't do that. Breaking news, I brought this up. Troy, from your neck of the woods, Jared, says, I've never heard of Cactus Cooler, but just looking it up, definitely need to try it. Is Cactus Cooler regional, or it's not regional? If you've, I'm looking this up. Cactus Cooler.
It definitely sounds very familiar, and I swear I'm not just trying to think of Ecto Cooler. I mean, the 90s were a long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Here, I'm looking it up here. Cactus Cooler is popular in Southern California, Arizona, and surrounding areas. Its distribution has remained largely regional, with limited availability of its core markets, outside of its core markets.
That's probably what it was.
It's an orange pineapple flavored drink. Okay, I am shocked that Cactus Cooler is not known worldwide. It should be worldwide. That's unbelievable to me. Okay. All right. Apologies to anyone who I've cut out of the conversation with Cactus Cooler. Jared, thanks for the call. Any final thoughts before I let you go?
No. Just look forward to the live stream for Castley Talks season 2 of Hot D. Hopefully
Yeah.
you can make it. But
I think, the current plan is Saturday afternoon. I have this short window of time, and Alden and I are going to jump on live and talk about this season.
because
So
Alden did a superb job holding down the fort all season as I harangued him in the comments constantly.
Love it. Love it.
All right, and you be safe, good sir.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Jared. Checking in here, and we are going to go to some more calls. We got some people checking in here. I want to grab him now. He's a detective to us. We call him Detective McCarcel. Michael's on the call line tonight. Thank you, Michael, for calling. What's on your mind?
Hey, Ken.
How you doing, man?
Doing all right. I apologize in advance. My audio's less than excellent.
You
House
sound
sitting right
great.
Now, so
no, you sound great.
on my phone, so I didn't know how well that would work. Anyway,
it's going great. It's going great.
So, guess I'll pick up from where we were last time. What do you think with the engagement stuff? What do you find changes after popping the question and all that? Because I've definitely noticed, not just between us, but the way people look at us different, talk to us different.
Yeah.
They take us a little more seriously, almost, I think.
Yeah, there's something to that commitment thing and to the title of it. The weird thing that separates my answers maybe from your experience, but I'll make sure I don't assume too much, is, Grace and I actually have no plans to get married. We are permanently engaged. That could always change. We reserve that option. So a lot of times when I say, or it comes up, hey, my fiance, or, and saying my fiance for us is, we'll say partner more than anything. But occasionally, you're just like, my fiance. And it elicits oh, that's great. Congratulations. When are you going to get married? Which starts that conversation of, well, we actually have no plans to get married. We're just kind of permanently together, domestic partnership, whatever you want to say. So that usually takes the conversation in that direction. But outside of that, there's a level of, oh, this is serious. Oh, you've made this choice. And I take that seriously. I take that responsibility serious, and to make sure I'm representing us as a team publicly better every day, trying to not live my life as a solo. And it's harder to live your life as a solo, as a single writer, when you got an official connection reminder, married, engaged, whatever it might be. So I don't know. What do you feel it's some of the changes?
I mean, I've definitely noticed I don't want to make her sound like she's super self-conscious or anything, but I've definitely noticed that she feels more confident in our relationship since then. Mm-hmm. Just because, she has had bad experiences prior to me, and I've definitely noticed a more relaxed feeling and just a more confidence, greater confidence. Like I said, is probably the best way I could put it. She just seems more.
Does that come? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Do you think that, without speaking for her or sharing too much of anything that she's not comfortable with, does that come from a big place of safety? That's the kind of way I see it. Is because a lot of the years leading up to our relationship, the act of engagement, if you will, was a big point of safety for her. So now there's a new kind of confidence and calm that can emerge post the official formation of that safety, if you will.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. And because admittedly, like I mentioned before, it won't be a permanent engagement for us, but it will be a longer one. Mm-hmm. And I think I was able to, and have been able to, consistently convey that a big part of me wanting to get engaged this soon is to show her that level of commitment, and mm-hmm. that I'm not going anywhere. I am. Yeah. I just, and admittedly, when I talked to her dad, that was a big, at least, I don't want to say point of contention, but it was definitely something he had a lot of questions about him. Why do it so soon? And not that I need to impress him, but it definitely seemed to put his mind at ease in some regards.
Did you do the classic traditional ask for permission, hand, whatever type of thing? Did you do that, or just have a conversation?
Much to my chagrin, because Emily, my fiance, we had discussed getting engaged, and she kind of knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But like she had at one point mentioned, like, so I know we both don't like it, but to really save both of us, especially her, because she unfortunately still lives with her parents, to save her a lot of problems, I would need to at least talk to him.
Yeah.
And I made sure to word it when I was talking to him in a way that I didn't feel like I was betraying myself or her.
Yeah.
By quote asking permission, but I told him what I intended to do, but in a very, just a very, I don't say passive way, but in a way that
respectful.
He seemed, that's
and not even a manipulation of I'm going to make this think this is your idea, but a hey, I'm in a weird way maybe he would even respect you strongly saying, hey, I'm going to do this. This I'm just letting you know. I went through that a little bit with Grace's parents, who are a little bit more old school, and was happy to have the conversation. We got on a Zoom call or a StreamYard or something like that, and it was before I got to the permission part, quote unquote. We had a not long enough conversation where that was almost at that point a not show, but just kind of pomp and circumstance for the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, hey, all right. After this 20-minute conversation, by the way, may I have permission to take your daughter's head? It was almost
that's formality. Fair. I admittedly had lunch with him that day because under the guise of having questions about engineering, because he's also an engineer, so I did legitimately want to have that conversation because he's been an engineer for 25, 30 years, so he had a lot of valuable information for me, and I would have asked him regardless, but it was a good I guess guys was the right word to at least set up the conversation. But there was kind of a lull in the conversation where I found, and I just worked it in. I was like, "There's one more thing while we're here, and when we go to Colorado, I'm gonna ask Emily to marry me." And he was admittedly speechless for longer than I would have liked, but
how heavy was the minutes between his response and your
question? It was seconds most likely, but he wasn't. The look on his face was a happy one, but he was still definitely speechless. So I was definitely nervous for a split second, and then he laughed, and he was very, very happy about it. And then we had the following conversation about his concerns and
there you go.
My intentions and all of that.
Hey, asked and answered. If you got the questions, you got the answers to questions, and you're in a good spot. And you did it. And you did it. You did it. Michael, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope I answered all your questions to the utmost of my ability. I hope that I showed you I'm sticking around, Michael.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for calling in. The detective has spoken. We got a couple calls lined up here before I get out of here in a few minutes. We also got a super chat with a great question we're going to get to. 898-4M and Evan are queued up to jump into the calls. If you want to call in, you become a Patreon member, and you get a link, though I might have put the wrong link in today. I apologize. Or you get a post if you're a channel member on YouTube that's just for you that has the link to call into StreamYard. I take audio only, so you don't have to put on your best shirt. No makeup. Don't do your hair. Just call into the show. You don't even have to turn on your camera. Super chat coming in from Make AIM Great Again. I love that name because you know what? I miss AIM. I don't miss a lot about the internet and the old internet. AOL's Instant Messenger was, I would just sit on there, do some work. I'd chat with friends, hang out. Guess I kind of do that with Fortnite now, but I miss AIM. Anyways. Make AIM Great Again says, I was hoping for some advice. I'm sober for the first time in 12 years. Congratulations there. And trying to find myself. Usually this would involve getting out there, but now out there is very disconnected. Everyone everywhere is on their phones. Yeah, that is, first of all, make aim great again. If it looks like you've come to a spot that you're comfortable with and comfortable with making a big decision like this, I think that's a very good thing. And yeah, as far as getting out there, and I don't know if you're just talking in terms of romance, but it just sounds like even just connection, friendship. It is difficult. It is difficult. I have a lot of friends in town here struggling to connect. Some on a romantic level, some on a friendship level, beyond just simply work connections and professional connections. It is hard. I think beyond even people being disconnected or distracted and everyone on their phones or anything like that, it's just, I think over the years, our abilities or our even desires to communicate and connect have slipped a little bit. Post-pandemic, all those kind of things, you hear that. But, we're all in our little bubbles. And I think especially, I'm an example of post-lockdown pandemic situation here in LA. COVID's still a thing for sure, to be honest. But I emerged from the lockdown era, the 2020 into 2021 into 2022 range, having less desire to connect with new people, having less desire to communicate with people already in my circle, cut my circle, cut contact with a lot of folks. Some of it was different choices and different things in life. But other ones was like, you know what? I'm good. I'd rather have 5 good friends than 15 acquaintances. And I found I would tell jokes about it, of becoming more of a person locked away in a cabin. So the first thing I'll tell you, make aim great again, is you're not alone in being alone. And a lot of folks are struggling. And when I say I don't need 15 acquaintances, the bummer in that is some acquaintances become some of your best friends, or some of the friends you can talk to in a way that you couldn't talk to before. And that's when you cut things out. There's some folks it's okay to cut out of your life. Some folks said, hey, we just don't have a friendship. It's good. We don't need to force this. We knew each other through work, or we knew each other through YouTube shows or trivia shows. We don't need to force this anymore. But there's some folks who, I guess when the timing's right, they've come back into my life, or they've leveled up in a way, or I've leveled up in their lives. A good example, I want to highlight I love my buddy Phil Svitek, and seek out Phil's YouTube channel, Phil Svitek. He used to run AfterBuzz when the schmoes were over at AfterBuzz, and he was often the middleman, and at times I was often the middleman with him between two kind of warring parties, the head of schmoes and the head of AfterBuzz, the owner of AfterBuzz. The guy who ran it, and sometimes there was tension, as often happens during creative projects, nothing abnormal. But Phil was kind of in the middle of that, and I had built up wasn't connected to Phil, wouldn't have called him a friend. He was a guy who knew through this thing I was doing, and there was nothing. We weren't ever at each other's throats or disliked each other, but we were nice to each other because we had to be. And I left AfterBuzz. The schmoes left AfterBuzz, and that's that Phil guy. I like him. We go to some parties. He was at some events. Always sweet. Treated me right. I treated him as best I could. And then one day I was at a screening, and I hadn't talked to him in a while. I saw him at a screening for a movie, and I saw he was doing some podcast stuff that I liked, some real stuff where he's just trying to make a difference in the world. And I said something to him about it. We connected. We started texting again, and as is a lot of the case in LA, you don't see these friends every day. You don't even see these friends every week, every month. But he's someone I have a strong connection with. I was just talking on the phone with him the other day, and that came out of left field. It was just a hey, and we wasn't even a let's be friends. It's just the connection happened. So, and I think you got to love and Make Aim has a follow up of how often you guys hang out in real life. Not a lot. Not a lot. In fact, Phil and I were on the phone yesterday. He's one of the only people who I think will still call people. And we were on the phone yesterday or the other day, and we were like, life moves too fast. And I think, AIM, if you take that pressure off too, where it doesn't have to be a hang in real life, we do have an ability to be more disconnected, but we have abilities to be more connected. To me, a text is a form of connection. Some people I know are like, no, I got to get on the phone. And that's fine. I don't answer a lot of phone calls. I joke with one of my oldest friends called me today, and I said, you are one of the last people I answer the phone for. It's my mom. My dad doesn't even call. We text. My mom and you. Like, I've been together, Grace and I have been together 8 years. I think we've been on the phone together 8 times. Not even joking. So, AIM, in terms of how many hang out in real life, not a lot. But I'm not saying that in a good way. I love the connections. I love having people over for a fire pit session. I love going to lunch. I'm the king of the lunches. Let's get lunch. And then we do it. I think maybe just wade through that. Don't beat yourself up if you're not finding the connections right away. In terms of being sober, Michael McCarthy says going sober is definitely hard when you are also trying to get out and meet people. I mostly don't drink now. I'm fully sobered in the semester. So grateful my fiance supports that. Yeah. So, yeah. I think day at a time, person at a time, connection at a time. Laserbolt says, thank goodness for my Sunday night card night. It's about the only time I hang with friends anymore. Yeah. Addie said, there you go. It really is hard to make connections, especially if you don't have a partner or kids or just of a certain age. Yeah, as we get older, it's harder. I've also leaned really hard into my homebody tendencies post-pandemic. Yeah, Abe, so one of the first things, you made a very solid choice for yourself, and that can make it hard. Maybe you're finding you can't go to places as much. I don't want to speak for you or claim to know that journey. The old, to explore your hobbies, join a group, join Laserbolt's card night, whatever you want to do. But those are all easier said than done. But just, I say this to a friend who is, I have a couple friends always looking, always searching in the romance world. I don't know if you can force it. And I think it's okay to not force it. Make AIM great again. Says, Ken, have you ever considered becoming a counselor or therapist? You might be a very eloquent and great communicator. I'm kind of a dummy. There's a lot of books in therapy. So I'll just become one on the internet. That's good. But no, I appreciate it. I try to be open and honest about my experiences. I try to just break it down in simple fashions. I don't have all the answers. No one has the answers. For me, keeping it simple is the key to success. Even talking to Jeff May at the top of the show about eating right and training and everything. Yeah, keeping it simple. And I really enjoyed Jeff saying, "Don't beat yourself up if you don't work out or you go have a large fry order from Arby's with a beef and cheddar. Don't beat yourself up if that's not what you wanted to do, but you did it. So AIM, don't beat yourself up if while you're going through this very key, important part of your life, becoming sober after 12 years, wanting to form connections, if it's not working, or you're not wanting to go out on a Friday night to find someone, or you're just running into a brick wall. Don't beat yourself up. And you're here. You got a community here. This counts. 8984M has a good comment. Yeah, along with that, everyone's saying explore your hobbies and try to find group activities in these hobbies. But also 8984M is here. Brady, Kyrie, Mr. Numbers, you're on the show. What's on your mind? How do you connect? How do you connect with friends? You've been around this world. How do you make new ones?
Hey, wow, I was not expecting that. How do I connect? That is a good question, actually.
Well, while you're thinking of an answer, I'll highlight Jonas Berggren, who is a great drummer. In fact, he's a drummer on the Moon Age's latest song, This Life. Check it out wherever you get music. Jonas Berggren says, I'm 13 years sober, straight edge, and found my people through the music scene. I'm so grateful for that. So, yeah. So AIM, find your people. And here's the thing. You will find your people because it sounds like your soul is open to it. Brady, did you come up with the answer that will change our lives?
Probably not. I'm the generation that goes out probably the least, I'd say.
Is that the case? And where are you? Are you young millennial or old Gen Z?
Old Gen Z.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
I think
Is that true? What I mean, you look, lockdown. Let's not. I'm not making light of it, but gun violence. If you're in the States, there's a lot of money. Lot of reasons. Also, playing a game on your phone or Best Fiends or something is probably more exciting, anyways. But is that true? Is that true that you're going out less?
Yeah, I definitely think so. There's also fewer places to hang out at. There's no
Really?
You can't just hang out at Blockbuster, for example. There is no Blockbuster.
That's true. That's
the record
true.
Store. I always hear like the record store culture, and I'm just like, what is that like? Yeah.
I didn't. It's funny. I didn't meet people at record stores. I shopped once next to Benmont Tench, the keyboardist from the Heartbreakers. I shopped one time next to Johnny Knoxville. I was worried I was going to get pranked. Yeah, but record store culture. I had a couple friends. My friend Dave, some of you might remember in the Twitch days as Dave. My friend Jay, I used to write about him in my music column, Jay from Pasadena. We would go to record stores. That's what we would do. We'd pick a Saturday and go to like 8 of them. Yeah.
Wow. 8? There's more than like 2 record stores?
We would go all around LA. We would, there's Amoeba and they're at the old location, which is a great location. They've moved, and thank God they're still around, but it's not as great location. But you'd go there, you go into Glendale, you'd find one on this corner. There was one tucked away here. You go to a warehouse. There was one kind of bigger one we'd go to in Pasadena. Yeah, it'd be great.
Wow. Yeah, I only know records. I only know Amoeba, and then there's like what is it called? The bookstore. Was the one that's still around? They sell records at the bookstore in the Grove, I think.
Oh, Barnes and Noble?
Barnes and Noble, yeah.
yeah.
Have,
there's not a lot left. There are not a lot of those left. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tower Records on Sunset. I've been there a few times, and there's history there. Like this is where John Lennon shot for records. Like you would feel it. Yeah. Hugo agrees. Record stores and bookstores, new and used. Yeah, you could find some friends there. Absolutely.
Yeah. There was a used bookstore in Third Street Promenade.
Yes, there was. Do you feel a Gen X to a Gen Z question here, Brady? Are you aware that you have less places to go, face-to-face connections, IRL meetups, and do you miss it, or do you feel you clearly maybe are missing it, but do you feel that your generation doesn't know what to miss? And maybe it's a new paradigm anyway, so it's a new way to form connections. Does that go through your heads? Are you wondering? Are you missing? You're clearly having some thoughts about it.
Yeah, I'm wondering about how like the next Gen Alpha, the Skibbity generation. But I'm older Gen Z. So I was born in the 20th century, so I'm old.
You're an elder Gen Zer, which is crazy to think we're at that point.
Oh my God! But yeah, so I'm definitely aware of like where people used to hang out because they used to exist when I was a kid. I remember those like Borders. As a kid, we used to just hang out in the manga section, just read.
Yeah, Addie's got a comment here. Even just going to the mall isn't a thing anymore, and that's so true. So many dead malls. The mall I worked at is still going, but it's not going strong. Places in LA like the Grove. Grove is not just a mall. It is designed to be a city center, as is the Glendale Galleria. Love them or hate them, and I think there's good reason to hate them. But Caruso and Caruso affiliated properties always did a good job of we're going to make it a manufactured city center. But it's Steve says no more Friday nights at a mall. And like I said, I could easily sit here and say, back in my day, but I didn't go out much. I was a quiet, shy kid, so I wasn't hanging out at the malls. My mom wouldn't let me anyways. But I do feel as though face-to-face, the ability to have face-to-face connections, the ability to communicate is just different now. It's not wrong. It's not less than. Your generation is not less than. It just does things different. But I do sense that there is a lack of connection that could be driving or coursing through these generations right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think the replacement as a young adult, closing in at the end of my young adult years, is that our communication is really like social media Discord. I don't use. I'm weird because I don't know how to use Instagram that well.
Well, you're failing Gen Z.
I never skipped. I was on Snapchat, and then Snapchat. No one's on Snapchat anymore.
Well, yeah, the ball moves. You move around. You know, everyone signs up for Laps and is there for 5 minutes. Everyone signs up for Vero and it's there for 5 minutes. Those kind of things. But yeah, finding your people, finding your group. It's not easy. Laserbolt, who is not from Gen Z, says fun camping is a great way to meet fun people that you'll never see again. Hey, all right, there you go. Put your keys in these backpack. I see what you're up to, Laserbolt. A lot of stuff. Well, I don't want to. I hope that wasn't forcing you to a question or conversation that you didn't want to have tonight, Brady. But do you have a specific question before I take Evan's call here?
Yeah, I was. So I think you're talking about like the geographic differences of the U.S.
Yeah.
And I think from yesterday, the Olympics are still on my mind. I'm Olympic blues. I was wondering, like, what LA culture thing do we want the rest of the world to know us by during the Olympics?
Man, damn it, man, that's too smart of a question. It's too deep. Because I could make a snide joke about what is LA culture, traffic and chihuahuas. I got one of the chihuahuas. But none of that's actually true. Those are pockets. You can find the LA Hollywood vapid stereotype can be found. Just like I could go to Little Rock and I could find the stereotypes I was looking for. But that silos you off from the realities. And LA's got, I think it does have a good food culture. You do have so many cultures here. One of my favorite things to do, my friend Dorina will, it's been a while, but we'll saddle all of us up for a taco crawl, and we'll go through different parts of the city and talk about fellowship and connection. And a taco crawl through the valley is different through downtown LA and different through Hollywood, and it was fascinating to do that kind of stuff. So I think there's a lot of food culture. Your bubbles, once you're in a little bubble of a different part of the city, Santa Monica is a different world from Burbank. Yeah. But once you find it, there's definitely little pockets of culture.
Yeah, I feel like during the Olympics, they're definitely going to feel a lot more of Santa Monica because they're holding a beach volleyball. I think is being held there. I mean, that's where beach volleyball was founded. I think it was invented there.
Well, there you go. That's an interesting thing, and I know the Olympics have been here before. I lived north when it was here in '84. And LA gets a bad rap, and one of my favorite movies of all time is Collateral, and Tom Cruise's character has a lot of things to say about LA that I think are bad. That I have some friends who love that movie with me as well, but that movie nails LA. And I don't think it does. I also think it's a weird love letter to LA, as is a lot of Michael Mann's films. The Heat and all this stuff, like weirdly in love with LA. So I have to think about this. We'll cover this some other time, because as the Olympics approach, what does LA want to represent in 2028?
Yeah,
deep question.
There's going to be a lot of changes too, because they're opening up the subway line to UCLA.
Yep.
There's the People Mover. Once they open the People Mover in LAX, that's going to be so much less of a nightmare.
There's some conversations to be had about what the Olympics actually does to cities, and we have a lot of reframing of what it has done and the harm maybe it's done in the past. I'm all there for those conversations, but I also think things like that. I think the Olympics has brought a lot to cities as well. So we'll see where we end up. But the lack of a public transportation system is definitely a problem here. And LAX, I love airports. LAX is crazy, but I love it. Terminal 5, man, Terminal 5. But it's if you can improve how to get there. So there you go. Jared has a question. Thoughts on Swingers' take on LA? Swingers, the Doug Liman directed Jon Favreau script from 1996, one of my favorite movies of all time. It is fascinating because I saw that movie. I wasn't in L.A. yet. I was in radio. And then when I got to L.A., that L.A. was winding down, and I was not plugged into it. Oh, wow. Shy little kid. But Swingers is really accurate to LA of that time. It is a special time. I love watching that movie, even though I didn't experience that LA. I moved here in 98 and the tail end of it, I used to run a comedy show at the Brown Derby, Where Swingers Ends, where he meets Heather Graham. I ran a comedy show in that building. And so it was Favreau's life at the time that he was writing about. His slice of life stuff, which works so well, I think, in Mandalorian, in particular season 1, is that slice of life, not necessarily connected scenes, but just this scene, this adventure, this thing. I think it's pretty accurate, even though it's specific to a genre. Now, you can go, I saw Marty and Elaine perform. I went into the bars all up and down that Silver Lake area. That is definitely a subculture, but it's accurate. And the big band culture, as Jared says. So Jake says LA sucks balls. It does not. That's I'm joking with Jake, but I do get upset at that. It's such a great city. It is such a great city with so many beautiful things and so many wonderful things to experience and do, and so many great pockets. There's so many things to see. You want museums, you want art, you want comedy, you want food. It's got a great food culture. I absolutely love the city. I legitimately love this city. Brady, good to talk to you as always. Yeah. All right, my friend. I'm almost out of here, but I want to get to these other calls. But thank you so much.
Man, thank you for having me.
All right, Brady, and then we got Evan, then we got Jonas. Jonas calling in. Oh my God, my friend Jonas is calling in. But I got Evan right now. Evan, what's going on, man?
Hey Ken, what's shaking?
Not much. Major problems.
Yeah, I missed the first hour of the show. I apologize.
Oh, don't ever let that happen again.
I know my mother-in-law invited some distant relatives to my house, which I had to entertain for the better part of the evening.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I don't have anything off the cuff, but you're gonna get something from Evan, raw, unadulterated, uncut.
Love it.
What's on your mind? Give me something.
What's on my mind?
Yeah, I want to know.
What's on my mind is I'm really looking forward to be performing tomorrow night at Joseph Scrimshaw's birthday show. I have some new material I'm going to try, and I've struggled to get new material out. I've got new material, but I keep it under wraps too many times, and I don't have the confidence sometimes to bust it all out. But because tomorrow night's show's kind of themed, it's not 100% themed, but it's kind of themed. I've got a couple things I'm going to try to work, and they might not work, and that's always the high wire act comics walk, and that can scare me a lot, and that's a lot of times why I don't bring out new material, and I lean on stuff that I know works, but I'm excited to push myself out. So that's what's on my mind.
Nice. I like that, Ken. I always try a fart joke. Fart jokes always go over really well, right?
You know what? I actually have kind of a fart joke in my new material. It's a reference to a fart joke.
All right. Well, it'll work.
It'll work. So yeah, that's on my mind. Thank you, Evan. Thank you.
You got it, Ken.
All right.
Yeah, well, good luck with the show. And yeah, I don't got much for you tonight. Just I had to chime in and talk to my buddy Ken for a minute.
Love it. I appreciate it. Evan calling in. Before we take our last big call tonight, I will remind you. Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow night in LA, Lyric Hyperion, great venue in LA, Silver Lake area. 7:30 p.m. sharp, my friends. Sharp, the horror years old, a fun comedy variety show starring Joseph Scrimshaw. It is his birthday, a big birthday. We'll be celebrating aging. Laser the Boy, Audrey Carnes, Hal Lublin, all great, talented, wonderful performers. And me, I happen to be there as well, doing some comedy. They're all doing, we got musical comedy, we got a short film, we got a sketch. It's all there. All right, final call of the night. One of my favorite people I met in person in Anaheim. I watched him try to process what Del Taco was, but he's also a great drummer. Jonas Berggren, how you doing, buddy?
Hello, I'm good.
Good to have you here, man. Good to hear from you. You're on the road, right? You're doing music out there?
No, I'm home now.
Finally.
But we were out like 2.5 weeks in mainland Europe.
Wow.
If you want to call it that.
Mainland Europe. That sounds dangerous, but yes.
Yeah. Well, it can be.
It can't. No, it can be. Yeah, it can be. Knife violence. What's your question, buddy? What's your question? What's on your mind? What can I answer?
I don't know.
You're just here.
It's almost 4 o'clock in the morning.
You crazy rock and roll drummer. What are you doing?
I worked night shift this week, so
okay, that's fair.
my fucking my days are upside down.
I know that feeling. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I want to say publicly, man, I really appreciate your drumming and working with us on the Moonagers. The song "This Life," you just nailed it. We've been looking to get a more robust drum sound, and I really appreciate you coming in and putting your licks. I can't say your licks. What you putting your beat down? I don't know.
Yeah.
What do drummers say?
I don't know. Just lay some tracks.
Lay some tracks, man. You laid some tracks. You laid
Yeah,
some
I
tracks.
tried. Like this was a new thing for me as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have heard like my main band. But...
Well, I know we presented you a softer song, is all say.
Yes.
But you nailed it. You nailed it. I appreciate that.
It was fun.
We're gonna do more. We have one working on. It's a Britpop inspired one, and I think you already heard it. But we're gonna redo a version to make it easier for you to drum, and can't wait to can't wait to do it. So
I'm ready. So
well, we're ready. Tiller's ready. Tiller said you smashed it, and Tiller's working on the new version of our song. Jonas, thanks for calling in, buddy. Good to hear from you, man. You're such a sweetheart, and I just love hearing from you. We'll get Del Taco soon, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Jonas Bergen calling in from another part of the world. We're almost out of here, but I do want to honor and mention the super generous super chat from Laserbolt Videos. Follow and subscribe and get to Laserbolt Videos channel. He's got one of my favorite little channels I love checking in on. Though I tell you what, that damn algorithm, Laserbolt, I got to go make sure I click on your channel today. Your stuff hasn't popped up because that algorithm, you miss like 1 or 2 days, you're boom, gone. All right. I just acquired a large RV. I'd like to take a long road trip this winter, and I have a few ideas. Tailgating at a Lions game. That's great. Or my first trip to Vegas, or a trip to Galaxy's Edge. Question, where would your dream road trip be? I tell you what, I one day want to drive cross country again. I've done it twice, one way, always one way, on the 40 freeway. You take the 14, you take the 15, you connect to the 40, as if you're heading to Vegas, you turn right, and then you go through California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, swing up to Memphis, and you're in Tennessee. And I went all the way to East Tennessee. Did that twice. But I always had to move. I always had to go. It was 12 hours, 13-hour driving days. So you're checking in at the hotel 7 p.m., maybe getting a meal, you pass out, you wake up at 6 a.m., you're on the road again. And I have always wanted to kind of almost redo that and certainly go to other parts of the country, but just take my time. Now, I will say, since then, that was 2008, 2009, I started, going on the road with Mark Ellis doing comedy. We do a weekend and we go back, and maybe a month or two later we go again. Other comics go a lot more. I wouldn't mind doing that too, but I scratched that itch of getting to a new city or a city I don't get to spend a lot of time to, and just spending time there. When I go to New York now, I don't need to go hang out at a bar till 4 a.m. I don't need to. I actually like heading through Times Square. Got to get a Times Square hot dog, but I don't need to go there. I don't need to do the touristy things as much in New York. I can just exist there, and I love that idea. So I want to do a road trip where I can just find places and exist for a little bit. That's where I think I'd go. So there you go. All right. 898 for M says, I love the new song. Thank you. Check it out wherever you get your music. Moonagers. All right, that's it. I'm out. I got to go. I said I would do 90 minutes, and here we are, approaching 2 hours again. Housekeeping. Thanks to those that have subscribed to my ASMR channel, Sports Card ASMR. The numbers went up during the show tonight, and I am that much closer. We're 38 away from being a monetized channel. Even if you don't like ASMR, just subscribe. Leave it there. Next week, one night only, San Francisco, Nick Scarpino, Mark Ellis, myself, and Josh McCouga. If you're local, come on out. Check the food reviews. More on the way here. And tomorrow night, please, man, get a ticket if you're anywhere in the world. The live stream link will be live for a week. Or if you're local, come on out to Lyric Hyperion. Fun stuff out there. Thanks to everyone who called in. Thanks to the Super Chat folks. Thanks to all of you who called in and hung out with me. We'll do it again very, very soon. A lot of fun. We'll see you next week. Bye.